On behalf of her precious family, it is with profound sadness that KBLA Talk 1580 announces the passing of our beloved colleague, Robin Ayers, on Thursday, December 5th. Robin was a bright light. You could see her radiant smile through the radio. We all respected her immense talent, loved her jovial spirit, celebrated her love of family, and honored her faith in God. Our thoughts and prayers are with Robin's entire family, most especially her husband Rob and her twin daughters Brooklyn and Madison. We ask you to join us in praying for the Ayers family as they navigate the difficult days ahead. In her honor, all this week, we're broadcasting the Best of the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey Zoe, I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
First, I wanted to tell you that I feel very, very grateful because I was honored to translate your book, Ask and It Is Given, into Spanish. And I really felt your words whispering on my ears when I couldn't find the right words.
When Jerry Nestor heard that you were the one who was translating the book, they were thrilled. Jerry said, "So nice to have someone doing it who knows the heart of Abraham."
Thank you. Thank you. And every time I was in trouble to find the right words in Spanish, and I asked you for help, I discovered that your Spanish was better than mine. Thank you.
And you also discovered that you are a translator on more than one level.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, the question is there such thing as a compassionate God who listens to us and gives us what we ask for, even if we don't vibrate sometimes with our desire, or if we are really on our own 100% responsible? In other words, do we have to be happy in order to be happy to begin with? Or can we ask for help when we can't find a thought that makes us feel better? Is there an entity called God that thinks and makes decisions or it's just us all together from which God is made?
Well, that which man calls God is very different from man's image of God, because God has made man, but man is now remaking God in man's image. In other words, man forms a perspective of something and then tries to make everything fit into that, and there is tremendous distortion in that process. You are accurate when you feel that you are that which is God, both from your physical and your non-physical perspective. The combination of you and all of the rest of us is what God is, because God is consciousness that is expanding. Sometimes humans feel unsettled about that, because there are so many who have been happier seeing God as just an exaggerated version of man, someone very much like man, but just bigger and hopefully smarter, and with all of the answers. And so in the process of making that image of God, man has subverted his own image of self. In other words, he has humbled himself by making this distinction of this superior God, which makes him the inferior mortal. And on that basis, man has separated him.
Oh, Lord, here we go. Here we go. Shout out to Robin Ayers, man. Come on, man. I'm sitting in the lobby. I could have been in the studio the whole time. I'm listening to her show ahead of me like normal. Well, it's day one without our beautiful sister, man. I miss her, man, and I'm going to miss her. Good people, so let me just say that. But tonight's topic, it's a doozy. So I'm watching these videos, people, law of attraction. I'm even hearing clinicians use this term, law of attraction. And one of the concepts in the law of attraction is God has only one answer for your vibration. Not necessarily for what you ask for, but for your frequency and your vibration. And I was like, whoa, that's heavy. And the answer is yes. So you could be poor, you could be struggling in a negative relationship or whatever, and your vibration could be in alignment with your reality. So basically, if you're poor and impoverished, your vibration is poor and impoverished. And this is irrespective of what you're asking for, what you're praying for. And I was like, wait a minute. So there's no grace. Like, you know how they say, hey, you should be able to speak your feelings and express yourself. And this is a safe space to express yourself, right? And I'm saying, well, God, i.e. the universe, doesn't allow space for that. Like if I'm poor and I'm praying for abundance, do I then first have to change my vibration to an abundant, happy vibration, even though my situation and circumstance does not allow for it? I said, that sounds like a parent that's not emotionally attuned. You know, when you have a parent that isn't emotionally attuned, you run the risk of creating a dismissive, avoidant attachment style. Ugh. It's a heavy thought. And then I thought to myself, what if you're spiritually avoidant? Because your divine parent seems to be absent, an absentee father, an inconsistent father. Ugh. Tonight's topic, the spiritual avoidant. Why does the universal source of consciousness, often referred to as God, appear indifferent or emotionally detached from its creation? God's indifference, a reflection of our own inner void? Ugh. Exploring the parallels between divine detachment and self-indifference. Oh my God. I don't know if you're ready for tonight's topic. It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones. This topic will examine whether the perceived emotional detachment of God serves as a mirror for our own disengagement from self-love and emotional awareness, inviting everyone to confront some uncomfortable truths about your spiritual journey. The spiritual avoidant. Are we co-creating our own isolation? Unpacking insecure attachment styles and their impact on spiritual engagement. The dangers of hyper self-reliance, right, in spiritual practices. You know, when you become any type of avoidant in terms of your attachment style, one of your coping mechanisms is independence, right? Now, if you're a fearful avoidant, it's independence and closeness simultaneously back and forth, right? This is a heavy topic, and I know people might not be ready for it, but we got to have these kinds of discussions, I believe. The spiritual avoidant. Why does the universal source of consciousness, often referred to as God, appear indifferent or emotionally detached from its creation? Now, this law of attraction thing, it's not clinically sound or psychologically supported, but you still hear a lot of people say you get who you are, you get what you are, right? Divine silence, the unheard prayers of the spiritual avoidant. Does God really say yes to all of our prayers? Why is this an important topic, and how does it relate to relationships? Because you hear so many people say, I'm waiting for God to bring me this person. Now, while you're sitting there waiting for God to bring you the perfect person, what are you doing in preparation to receive that person? Are you becoming all the things that you demand them to be? What are the psychological effects of feeling abandoned by the divine? Right? Understanding the cycle of disconnection in spiritual relationships. It's going to be heavy. God as a parent. The impact of divine unavailability on our relationships. They say God moves in mysterious ways. But they also say we should not lean on our own understanding. Now, wait a minute. Is that not the definition of a dismissive avoidant or an avoidant type? Hyper independence. I can do it myself. But yet we're not supposed to lean on our own understanding. This is heavy. From indifference to abundance, transforming your spiritual narrative. How the universe reflects your inner vibration, a psychological perspective. Embracing vulnerability to cultivate a secure spiritual identity. That's heavy. Ooh-wee. It's about to be deep. I don't know if you guys are ready for this topic, but we're going to do it. How might an unintegrated shadow self, paired with any of the three insecure attachment styles described by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, lead you to co-create a reality that mirrors unresolved inner struggles? I got to read it again, 1-800-920-1580. I want you guys to call in. Is it not happening because you haven't gotten to this vibratory frequency of abundance and love and self-understanding, you're not getting the person you want. The person you want hasn't manifested. The relationships hasn't worked. Is it because you lack self-compassion? Is it because you haven't found source within, the source of all of it within you? Is that the reason? Are your supplications for a better life, for more? Are they feeling like they're not being answered because you haven't worked on becoming the things you're asking for? And in turn, would that change your frequency and your vibration? How might an unintegrated shadow self, paired with any of the 3 insecure attachment patterns described by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, lead you to co-create a reality that mirrors unresolved inner struggles? That question is cold. True or false? As it pertains to our prayers, supplications, and desires, the universal source of all things only has one answer: yes. So will we get it if we ask for it? The Bible says ask, right? Right? Seek, or knock, seek and knock, right? A-S-K, ask. All you got to do is ask. And I guess you will get it. But is getting it, or is the process of becoming what you're asking for how you get it? And is that why so many people feel like God is an absentee divine parent? Ask, right? And it shall be given to you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and the door will be open. A-S-K. True or false? By neglecting your shadow work, do you simultaneously distance yourself from the divine, leading to a dualistic perception that God is also distancing itself from you? Ugh! That question cold. I got to read it again. I'm sorry. True or false? By neglecting your shadow work, do you simultaneously distance yourself from the divine, leading to a dualistic perception that God is also distancing from you? This is heavy. When we come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. They already cracking. I want to know what you think. Let's get it.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Around here, we don't believe in victimhood. We believe in raising our voices, amplifying Black voices in the climate conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The big holiday beauty sale at Ulta Beauty is happening now. Get the best gifts up to 50% off, including can't-miss deals on Urban Decay palettes, luxurious YSL and Armani fragrances, and the fabulous Shark Dryer and Styler. But that's not all. New deals drop every week. So whether you're treating yourself or finding the perfect gifts for your crew, head to an Ulta Beauty store today. Get all the best gifts, all at Ulta Beauty.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
God says you may not have anything you want. You may not have anything you want. And I was puzzled by that. And I said, well, I don't understand. I thought that when you want something, when you need something, when you are hoping for something, you go to God and you ask for it. God says, no, you don't understand how the system works. You don't understand how the system works. Or that even that there is a system. But here's how the system works. Everything you could ever ask for, you could ever have now, or ever ask for in the future, you already have right now. You already have all of it. You simply are not experiencing it. Because everything that has ever happened...
No. You're not finna play with us. Bring that back. You're not finna play with us, man. Did you hear what he just said, Andy? We've already got it. So wait a minute, play that again.
God says you may not have anything you want. You may not have anything you want. And I was puzzled by that. And I said, well, I don't understand. I thought that when you want something, when you need something, when you are hoping for something, you go to God and you ask for it. God says, no, you don't understand how the system works. You don't understand how the system works. Or that even that there is a system. But here's how the system works. Everything you could ever ask for, you could ever have now, or ever ask for in the future, you already have right now. You already have all of it. You simply are not experiencing it. Because everything that has ever happened is happening now, and ever will happen is happening right now. And so it is for you merely to reach into the sea of infinite possibilities and call forth the reality you choose now to experience. And you do this, you call forth from the sea of infinite possibilities the reality you choose to now experience through three devices mainly: thought, word, and action. That is, what you say, what you think or believe, and of course what you do. Now, if what you say is, please give me what I need today to survive, you will have a struggle acquiring what you need today to survive, because the statement comes from a deep underlying thought that you do not now have that, or you wouldn't be asking for it. It is that underlying thought, what Conversations with God calls the sponsoring thought, that has...
No. This reminds me of attachment theory. So my negative thoughts are not allowed. Or the reverse is true. Your negative thoughts are allowed. Because according to what the man just said, the answer is yes to everything. Even the negative stuff you think up. So God is not creating spiritual avoidance. You are, because somebody didn't teach us how to properly pray or request or become this vibrational match, as Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks would say. If God or source energy, seen as the basis of existence, works as our spiritual parent, might the view that this parent does not respond to prayers or desires lead to a habit of hyper self-reliance, forming a spiritually avoidant way of being? Is it accurate to say that the universal source of all things responds affirmatively to all of our prayers and desires, regardless of their positive or negative nature? So if I'm crying out in desperation, the vibration of desperation is basically pushing away what I'm asking for. Is that it? For those who perceive God or the universal source as indifferent to their prayers, could this perception be a reflection of our own inner indifference toward our true selves? 1-800-920-1580. When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. People want to talk.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tyreek Wynn with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The Supreme Court ruling will make it more difficult for people to sue the police. It stems from a case that was filed in North Texas. A group of George Floyd protesters have been trying to sue the city of Dallas for the way they handled the rallies back in 2020. The Marine veteran charged in the deadly New York City subway chokehold has been found not guilty. Daniel Penny was charged with manslaughter and negligent homicide. A West Suburban Oak Park detective will be laid to rest this week after he was killed in the line of duty. Alan Reddins was shot and killed the day after Thanksgiving. The biggest movies of the year are nominated for the Golden Globe for cinematic and box office achievement. Summer blockbusters Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2, and Twisters are all nominated. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader. Follow 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 the leader.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. The Equinox EV and all-new Equinox, America's best compact SUV for new vehicle quality by J.D. Power, offer both confidence and style to see you through the holiday season. It's easy to see why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Find your red tag. Get 0% APR financing for 36 months on select popular Chevy models when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Award based on 2024 models. For J.D. Power 2024 U.S. Initial Quality Study award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Offer available on all 2025 Equinox and 2024 Equinox EV, Blazer EV, and Silverado EV models. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment is 26.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 1/2/25.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
To the 100 million people who owe the IRS money, this message is for you. We've helped tens of thousands of people close the door on their tax debt. So if you feel like you're stuck in a hole with IRS tax debt, then this is the easiest way to get a resolution quickly. To qualify for a no-pay or low-pay resolution, visit taxclosure.org to get free from the IRS once and for all.
To keep your bank accounts, income, and assets secure, tax closure is your same-day cure.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whenever you place your desires out into the universe, the answer is always yes. You are the creator of your reality. Why would you deny yourself anything? My favorite Neville Goddard quote goes a little something like this. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it. When you express your desires in thought and then in word, you are already what you have declared yourself to be. It is you and only you who decides what reality you experience, whether it be paradise or prison. Whatever your desire may be, the answer is already yes. Now that you know the answer, the nature of the statement that precedes it becomes extremely pivotal. Are you refusing to see it? Let's find out. Welcome to Here Nor There. This channel is dedicated to empowering you through the art of conscious creation, shaping the life that you aspire to live. I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. This will help us stay connected, ensuring that you never miss any updates. Let me ask you a question. Don't you want to be in control? If I told you at this very moment that you are in total control of your life, do you feel a sense of empowerment or a feeling of dread? If your answer falls on the latter option, there's a simple answer as to why. It's because you realize that everything you'll manifest from here on out will be of your doing, good and bad. Yes, you are manifesting the bad things as well as the good things. Story time. A long time ago, I was a soldier in the United States Army. After a few years, I was quickly promoted to a leadership rank. I immediately had a rude awakening. Why? Because I found myself in control of not only myself, but 5 other men under my leadership. I learned a quick and dirty lesson. One day, my men didn't follow my orders correctly, and I found myself standing in the commander's office, getting an earful. That younger version of me quickly placed blame on my soldiers for not following my directions correctly. At that very moment, I couldn't understand why it was me getting shouted at and not them. My senior officer gave me a swift education in accountability. You are in charge. You are to blame when things go perfectly, and you are to blame when things go wrong. It gave me an epiphany. This is what it meant to be in control. Accountability. This was said to me many, many years ago. It was frightening to know that I had full control over my squad because I was responsible for their success and their failures. We only want to be in charge when we are receiving the accolades and perks to be given out for the wins. However, we naturally want to point the finger at something or someone else.
Listen, our partner can't clean up the internal mess. It's up to us. We have the divine spark within us. John chapter 1. It is the light that shineth in the darkness. Or it is the light that shineth in man. Or it's the light that shineth in the darkness, yet the darkness comprehendeth not. You're the darkness. Your ego is the darkness. We put a heavy onus on our partners to come in right, to come in on point. Heavy onus. You got to have your ish all the way together. You got to be all the way together while we're an internal mess. Right? That's cognitive dissonance right there. You want perfection from your partner, but you're okay with imperfection in you. As a matter of fact, you prefer it because it hurts cleaning up yourself. You become spiritually avoidant. Your relationships become mechanistic, robotic. As long as they show up and do what I need them to do, that's a good partner. The concept of spiritual avoidance offers a profound lens through which to examine the intersections of psychology, theology, and personal growth. Rooted in the complex dynamics of attachment theory and shadow work, spiritual avoidance arises when individuals perceive the universal source of consciousness, commonly referred to as God, as emotionally distant or indifferent. This perception, in turn, reflects unresolved attachment wounds, unacknowledged emotional needs, and a fear of vulnerability. By exploring the perceived detachment of the divine, we can better understand how such beliefs influence not only our personal spirituality, but also our interpersonal relationships. There is a difference between is there a difference between divine indifference or self-projection? I'm gonna go into this later. But I want to get these callers on the line because folks are ready. They have been on the line. They're ready to cook. Can I tell y'all all of these little bits and pieces that I put together for this show? They're all written in Alfred Korzybski's E prime, English prime. That's English without the verb is or to be, right? Because the famous linguist felt like there were too many logical fallacies, right? That is, you can never really say what something is. Like, especially if you're a theoretical physicist, they're starting to understand that. But we're quick to label our partners. We're quick to label ourselves. This is who I am. This is it. Listen, you have to be very careful in this spiritual place called relationships. The universe is ever listening. And if we are to accept this as the truth, it only answers in yes. You have to be very mindful of the negative things you say about others and the things you say to yourself. We got callers on the line. Who's been on the longest? Nazarene X, Atlanta, Georgia. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Phenomenal topic right here, man. When I first read it online and all, I was kind of taken aback in a way. And I don't know, it wouldn't necessarily be like from the quote-unquote God's defense type of side of things because, you know, truth doesn't need that type of protection anyway. Mm-hmm. But just the element or the thought, the question of, like, do people really feel like you can deny God's presence and blame or chastise him, she, it, what have you, as if your emotional fulfillment needs aren't being met or something like that in the same breath without contradicting yourself? Like, how do you not walk right back into that? And I think that's just pointing to an ongoing struggle with denial in a lot of ways, too. Because whether it's us denying ourselves or a better walk of life or our own capabilities or what have you, I think that denial, those struggles that go on inside, like, man, I would be better if this was in place, or if I had this resource, or if I had this answer and so forth. Like, that's cool and everything, but I don't feel that it's really advantageous for anybody to not still come from that inner childlike space of innocence and have that so-called boldness to just be.
But you have to understand, we've been conditioned to understand that value comes from the outside in and not the reverse. We've been conditioned to find the best education. We've been conditioned to find the best job. We've been conditioned to find the best partner. These are all external pursuits, right? And then we identify ourselves with where we came from and where we end up. Most people don't identify with a journey. They identify with a destination.
Yeah.
With the arrival, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was just also considering too. Like, you know, it's just the life itself and the outcome are two different things.
Right.
But, you know, our minds, like you were just speaking to, like, we get conditioned to see how we fit in this puzzle. Because maybe, again, that's just drawing or shedding light upon those bigger questions. Like, all right, well, what's our purpose then? Are we meant to fail? Are we meant to suffer? Are we meant to lack and so forth?
But again,
and the truth,
attachment, according to Buddhism, attachment leads to suffering.
Correct.
But what they don't tell you is suffering leads to wisdom.
Exactly, that long suffering for real, that perseverance. Like, you know, you stay the course in the whole nine, or I don't know what the words would be in various tongues or what have you, but it's like life, as you experience even those glimmers of hope, or that's where, like, your memories in a sense can serve you, you know, to your benefit. Like, you got something to pull from. You feel like you belong, or there's some kind of joy. And even that little twinkling right there like, I believe like that can help illuminate the darkness inside of our own minds.
But
I think it's also
you're 100% right, but you have to remember, if you're internally empty, your perception is that, right? Not that you are, but if you believe that, when you do have that momentary joy, what are you going to do to it?
Shoot, I take it for granted.
No, sometimes that's a right answer, but oftentimes we cling to it because, again, just like someone anxious, preoccupied, or somebody that's avoidant, they don't want you to leave. There's a fear of abandonment. So I'll have that moment, and instead of enjoying the moment as it is, we're already forecasting its departure. Go ahead.
Well, that's part of it, I feel, too, because I'm with you, and to cook that up, I think that's where so-called that defeatist mindset, it beats that fire out of us, because to an extent, is it not proper to cherish something? That is, to acknowledge it, identify it, and welcome it into your reality? That same fire is going to help you preserve that energy, or, again, not necessarily make it consume you, because that's a whole different type of thing. But I feel like once you can lay hold upon a reality that makes sense to you, to an extent, by all means, it's like, at that point, go all the way with it, because all you got is your life.
But, nephew, I'm not in any way, shape, or form disagreeing with you. I agree with you.
I'm with you.
What you're outlining is the way to handle this precious moment. But if you're unhealed and you are visited by a precious moment, many times you try to imprison the preciousness of the moment. That's what I'm pointing out. That moment should let you know that there's a possibility to leave the prison where you live, where you understand. A coping mechanism is the scaffolding of how you see the world and how you interact. Do you see?
Yeah, I do. It's safe to assume that folks who have that type of lexicon on their tongue or in their mind, don't they know about the kamikaze lifestyle?
It has to be taught. But you can't teach an unwilling ear.
And we can't inform and reflect what we've experienced without saying, like, it has to be this and that and the third way for one another, but we share that.
Yeah, well, first you have to be invited, and then whoever invites you has to be willing to recontextualize their preconceived notions. Hold tight. When we come forward, we going back to Atlanta. The cookout is happening.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses, like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
Helping to broaden your political and moral imagination with our 2024 climate justice campaign. We're KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe.
The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their program. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
You say, in fact, that love can only come into being when there's a total self-abandonment.
Obviously.
But how does one achieve self-abandonment?
The total abandonment can only happen with the understanding of oneself. Self-knowledge is the beginning of wisdom. And if wisdom and love go together, which means there is love only when I have really understood myself, and therefore in myself there is no fragmentation at all. Which means no sense of anger, ambition, greed, separative activity.
Again, Krishnamurti is pointing out the ego. When he talks about self-knowledge, he's talking about connecting to what he called suchness, otherness. For lack of a better word, God. Again, it's the same problem Peter ran into. O ye of little faith, you believe yourself to be Peter, and you believe me to be the Son of God, Christ. And you think there's a separation between us, and there's a separation between the source, the Father. You think there's a separation. This dualistic thought process keeps you from seeing the real you, the true you, the real you, the evolved you. That version of you is wealthy, infinitely wealthy. That version of you is infinitely healthy. Divine indifference or self-projection. One of the most striking questions in spiritual philosophy, if there's such a thing, why the universal source appears indifferent to creation. Thinkers such as Jiddu Krishnamurti and even Reverend Ike argued that this perception may stem not from the source itself, but from the projections of the individual. Krishnamurti emphasized that humans often resist freedom, clinging to known ideological structures, even toxic ones, out of fear of the unknown. Similarly, Reverend Ike highlighted the power of belief in shaping realities. Right? This is heavy stuff, suggesting that individuals who perceive divine indifference may unconsciously mirror their own emotional detachment or feelings of unworthiness. How can you ask for wealth and you see yourself as unworthy? Is that not imposter syndrome? John Bowlby identified 3 insecure attachment styles: anxious, avoidant, and disorganized, each rooted in early experiences of caregiving. When caregivers are emotionally unavailable or inconsistent, children internalize these dynamics, forming beliefs that relationships are either unreliable or unsafe. And you can't tell me that you don't see God. A lot of people see God as, that's why we get mad when we don't get what we want, or life hits us so hard and we go, why, God? Why is this happening? Why did this happen to me? Why did you let this happen to me? Because you see God as the source for the remedy of all of your problems, but when God don't show up when you want God to show up, you begin to question, in the same way you do with a parent. When caregivers are emotionally unavailable or inconsistent, children internalize these dynamics, forming beliefs that relationships are either unreliable or unsafe. The same framework can apply to an individual's relationship with the divine. For instance, those with avoidant attachment tendencies may view God as indifferent, mirroring their own discomfort with intimacy or vulnerability. The shadow self and spiritual avoidance. When we come forward, I'm going back to Atlanta to get my brother, my nephew, Nazarene X's final thoughts. Let's get it.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tyreek Wynn with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The Supreme Court ruling will make it more difficult for people to sue the police. It stems from a case that was filed in North Texas. A group of George